Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 7th day of January 2019. Well, sevens are wonderful, aren't they? They're a number for witchcraft and divinity and balance. I view it as a numerological depiction of the scales, but then I'm a Libra, so everything's about balance for me. In this year of, it's a 3-year, so mind, body, spirit alignment, unification, wholeness, maybe putting into play what we learned in last year's year of illumination and enlightenment. In this month of new beginnings. Well, being a Monday, though, we're talking the moon. I put the lunar transits up on the blog, and so we've got the moon in Aquarius right now and in the 4th house. So check that out over at the blog at imsteppingaside.com. I do those every couple of days as the moon moves into a new sign. I also shared on the blog an updated version of the arthritis salve I made recently. It was a cayenne pepper-based or a pepper-based salve. I actually didn't use cayenne pepper the last time. I used Thai pepper and also some turmeric. But this time I wanted to put some wormwood in it, and so I remade the whole thing. And again, I included the recipe there that I used. Most of the stuff I might start out with something, but then that's already established. But then I go and I play around with it and I do other stuff with it. So that's what I did. I was cleaning out some stuff in my herb area, and I found some dried wormwood that I hadn't yet bottled up or jarred up, and so I used some of it in it. I thought, wow, that's going to be great. I've used wormwood before in just bruise oils and also it makes a really nice liniment, if you want to just soak it in some rubbing alcohol, and then of course don't ever drink it. You don't want to drink that stuff, but definitely you can use that as your menstruum, just some rubbing alcohol, and make a liniment. And it's really nice for sore muscles. And if you have arthritis, I'm in clinical remission from rheumatoid arthritis, and my husband has osteoarthritis. So it's just a nice herb to use as a liniment. It controls the pain and inflammation and all of that. So I just thought it'd make a nice addition to it. So I redid it. I think I used maybe more turmeric this time, but it turned out really nice. I used a cannabis-infused coconut oil as the base for it, and works really well. So anyhow, it's on there if you want to look at it and make it if you want to. Test, but if you've never used a cayenne-based or a pepper-based salve on your skin, make just a small amount. Maybe don't make 2 cups worth like I did. Make a smaller amount, just cut the recipe in half and or quarters or whatever you want to do. And just test it on your skin and make sure that it's not too strong for you. But that's what I did, and I shared it on the blog, so go over there and check it out if you're into such things. So anyway, let's count 13 and see what we have for today. Well, we have the sun. Oh, nice. I got started a little late today because we went to the grocery store. We were completely out of food. So it took us a little bit to get that done, trying to figure out what we needed. But anyway, this is the 19th card from the Major Arcana. We see a big sun up above. We see a banner that's flowing there. We see sunflowers in the background. We see a cherubic figure, a small child. We see a white horse. So we have new beginnings, don't we? 19 reduces to 1 numerologically. So again, new beginnings. It's the self, vitality. But it's also, when you see the sun, it's also about enlightenment or rebirth, the birth of something new, expansion, spirit, material happiness, emotional happiness, uh, freedom, contentment. But it's like walking out on a summer's day when the sun is out there just shining bright and everything is just okay, isn't it? Little child is like, I'm here. Welcome. So let's draw a rune, see what it has to say. It just feels like this year is beginning in a new way, isn't it? And maybe we're all going to break through to something new. But to begin on a Monday, where Monday's a moon day, so we're talking about intuition and femininity and cycles and things like that. Emotions in play. So maybe emotional beginnings. Who knows? Well, we have Isa, which is the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark. So again, 11 is a master number for illumination. Isa is also a Norn rune, one of the 3 Norn runes in the Elder Futhark. Hagalaz, the 9th rune, is the witch rune, or the rune of the past, or the Norn. It's the Norn of the past, I should say. Nothes is the 10th. That's also a Norn rune of the future. And Isa would be the static realm, or the rune of the present moment. So one of the things that I think this tells us is that, too often we live outside the present moment in our minds. We have our thoughts about everything other than what's going on in front of us. And we bring everything in either from future concerns or past concerns or hurts or wounds or whatever. We bring them into the present moment and let that inform our perceptions. And what I love about Isa is, in combination with the sun, being a card from the major arcana, we're talking soul archetype here. Well, the same is true, particularly of the Norn runes within the Elder Futhark. You're talking about higher self-informing here, and here as well, that our focus needs to be on spirit, and letting spirit inform everything that goes on. And what Isa does is it freezes things in place. So if you are experiencing something that is distressing to you or whatever, maybe you're involved in a situation you're not comfortable in, Isa provides the energy to sort of freeze that in place. If you can't freeze the actual situation in place to keep it from moving in any direction, you can at least freeze how you see it. One of the hardest things I had to ever learn, and it really is, and it wasn't until I well, it took me a long time to finish the Course in Miracles. I'd get about halfway through it. It's a text it's a channel text. It's basically some automatic writing done by I don't know if she may have been an MD. She may have been a professor of psychiatry, I think at Columbia. But anyway, the group of them in their psychology department or psychiatry department, I just don't remember if it was psychology or psychiatry. But she began writing one day. Helen Schuckman was her name, and she began writing one day, and she could pick it up anytime she wanted. She heard the voice, and she wrote down what it said. Now, she believed the voice was Jesus, or perhaps it was the Sananda energy, which, imbued all of the manifestations of God that we've had on planet. Jesus was, of course, one of them. So whatever this was that was coming through to her, I mean, it's a huge text. It's big, and it has a manual for students. It has or I should say, a workbook for students, and where you do daily things. And then there's also a manual for teachers in it. But the text itself basically is written to Christian people who are of the Christian faith to kind of reorient what some of the terminology that folks live with. I'm not Christian, so I'm aware of it, but I don't live that, so I never really had the connection to it, I guess, that a lot of my Christian friends had that have looked at it and read through it. Some liked it, so it didn't resonate with everybody. sometimes how, because I guess probably because it disagreed with how they viewed some of the aspects of their faith, so, or descriptions of it, what, the meanings of it. So in any event, it really resonated with me. And the main thing, the basic premise of the course is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. Now, if you understood those 3 lines, you wouldn't have to read the book. Okay? But what this is saying is that we are source energy focused into form. We are aspects of the creator, fully the creator, yet an aspect at the same time. That's the whole notion of as above, so below, the experience that we live within of spirit and form, trying to blend together while we're here, right, in the body. And but basically, what if you had to draw the whole text down to one concept other than the basic premise, those 3 lines about nothing real can be threatened and all that, is that we create the world we see. Now, that would imply that if we're having a difficult time in our lives, that we're creating that. Well, in a sense, we are. Now, maybe we decided to do that before incarnating. We got together with all these people in our lives because, trust me, these are people we all agreed to be around, even the ones we don't like or have a hard time with. And what happened is we created this whole thing together as a unit, this earth, this life that we all live together in, this greater experience, this unified experience, this shared experience that we're all having. So if we create the world that we see, what is that really saying? We're creating how we see it. Now, in other words, the perception of things. So if we're experiencing a difficult time, we don't have to see it that way. We can choose to align in Isa, in that source presence, fully aligned, letting spirit inform that whole moment. And if we did that, see, we wouldn't judge the awful thing that we're going through as necessarily awful, but just something to go through. It's when we get into the judgment of it that we get into the problem. And so when I see Isa, I think this is holding together spirit and ego together in a way that allows the ego to be informed by spirit so that the ego doesn't stay out of touch with who it really is, which is the creator. So then when we have a day here of the sun, which is new beginnings and rebirth and all of that, aligned with Isa, the Norn Rune of the static realm, of living in the present moment, of illumination, being the master number 11, and higher consciousness, then what this is telling us, this is a major arcana card. So we have a whole lot of synchronicity here, don't we? The 7-day. So the message is to align in our divinity, align in our own source presence, and allow that to inform the rest of your day or your whole life, I love synchronicity, don't you? Well, that's cool. Well, again, I'm really sorry I got to this late today. I'm not that late, but I'm actually kind of about an hour behind here, my normal schedule. But anyhow, at least we got some food to eat today. We ran out. We just didn't want to go this weekend, We just had enough of the holiday traffic and the holiday, everybody's out in the stores and all of that. And it's just, I don't know. I'm empathic. I have a hard time with that. So. And then everybody moves everything around in the stores. My husband can't find anything, and that's his pet peeve. I used to have to send him, when the kids were little, and I'd send him off to buy Christmas presents. I would go ahead of him and I would find the aisle that it was in and exactly where it was, what shelf, and I would give him a list of what to go buy. And he would go to those places, and it would save his sanity because the way they move everything around, during the Christmas holidays and pile everything in the middle of the aisles, it confuses him. He doesn't like it. He likes to go where things are, where he knows where it is. He doesn't want to have to ask. And it's just because you can never find anybody, right? So it's nothing but a whole lot of frustration. So these days, I guess we just try to pick our times, and we try to limit how much we do and pay attention to how we feel when we're there, so that we don't get, so out of sorts being out there in the store, because, it's a necessary evil. You want to make it a good thing. You want to stay in the Isa moment of it, aligned in spirit, so that you can get through it without wanting to have an altercation in the grocery store. So anyway, food for thought. Anyhow, check out the blog. Again, if you're interested in that salve, I tell you how I make it. If you have questions, just ask, either here or on the blog. I'll answer you. And I don't ignore stuff. So sometimes I don't notice right away. I get involved in what I'm doing and I forget to go back and check, but I never not see them. So I try to at least, say a like or say something anyway. But if you have questions, ask and I'll answer them. Or go to the Facebook page. Stepping Aside has a Facebook page. You can go there and give it a like if you want, and or follow or whatever it is. I get all confused about all this stuff. But anyway, if you have questions, you can go there and ask too. So anyhow, thanks so much for coming by. I'm so happy to see everyone. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's not, thank you so much for coming back. Believe me, I'm so appreciative. You have no idea. Anyhow, I'll see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.